me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
We wanted to give to the industry is just to create a robust media platform where the content could call home and the story of Parks and Rec could be told. We had talented digital artists like we have on our team to help us tell that story and to capture that content, create evergreen content, and then put it on our YouTube libraries. This wisdom can be immortalized and viewed many, many years from now.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show Leadership Series, where we shine a light on the visionaries shaping the future of parks and recreation. Our mission is bold: to build a 24/7 media network dedicated entirely to Parks and Rec. And today, we're taking you behind the scenes to show how it all comes together, from managing the stage to producing live broadcasts that connect professionals across the nation. This episode isn't just for us, it's for every Parks and Rec content creator, podcaster, and director out there who wants to tell their community's story better, faster, and smarter. Let's dive in.
All right, Craig LeBlanc here with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We are live. Our guest today had something come up, so we are just going to do some housekeeping live for the entire nation to see how to create the podcast. And I'm actually training Chris and Jovi and Sherry on how to run the stage. And so why are we doing this? Well, we have about a dozen new shows coming with their own host, similar to Aaron Locks and myself. I'm the primary host for the leadership series. But if we're going to do what our mission says and create a 24/7 network all about Parks and Rec, we have to have more than just me as a host. And this is where our strategic partners come in, like Aaron Locks, and he is the host of our Youth Sports Mastery show. And so y'all just get to see how we kind of create. And the reason I want to do this live is because I know we've got a lot of content creators in the Parks and Rec community that are also creating, and we're kind of helping them. So we're going to use this as kind of an educational piece on how we create content, how we manage the stage, how we do all kind of stuff, so that if you're creating a podcast, you can refer to this video on how to run it. You don't have to go through the year of figuring it out like I had to. You can just kind of start where we left off. And so kind of bringing y'all back into the kitchen, and you get to see how the sausage is made. All right, so I'll be primarily teaching. Sherry and Chris and Jovi will just be in the background listening. So appreciate everybody showing up today. And this show is for all the content creators and podcasters in the Parks and Rec community, so that we can kind of get everybody up and running and start creating beautiful, valuable content for this industry, and then getting it online and learning how to use all these softwares and these subscriptions that we all subscribe to. If you're going to run a podcast, you do have to pay $50 a month for StreamYard and $100 a month for Calendly and whatever LinkedIn charges you. And by the end of it, once you get your whole system set up like us, you'll find yourself with several $1,000s of monthly subscriptions and other stuff. And that's kind of all your software. So instead of actually buying software, you just subscribe to a software company like StreamYard is what we use. And they kind of do a lot of the work for you, and you just got to pay that $50 a month. And that way you really don't have to be like a coder or anything special. They kind of do all the heavy lifting for you. And that's how we're able to generate and create really excellent content and broadcast it live across multiple streams and stuff. And so it makes what used to take creating like a CNN or ESPN or the cooking channel to where it used to take hundreds, if even not even thousands of people. But now it's just a small team of people can create an entire network for an industry, which is what we're doing. All right, so Sherry, why don't you go ahead and change the logo from Youth Sports Mastery, since this is not the Youth Sports Mastery show. This is our Leadership Series show. It should be running today. Go ahead and change the logo to the Leadership Series. You can talk in the mic, Sherry, if you want. See if your mic is working. You might have to move your mouth a little bit closer to it.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Is that right?
Click it. No, you want to do the logo first. Or the banner. Yeah, if you've got the banner, let's see. Is that the correct banner? Yeah. Okay, you're running the right banner. Now go to the media assets and do the leadership series. Bottom right. And there's a bunch of logos up there. There we go. All right, so now we have the right banner for the right show, which is the thing clicking along the bottom. And that's just a brief description so that people that are new to the show, we can, what's the paragraph of information we want to constantly be rolling through the show. And then, of course, the logo is kind of the brand of that show. Now we have to select which promotional videos, which we have 6 per episode. And so let's go ahead and put let's promote the LED lights. Yeah, go ahead and put number 8. Let's put that in slide. That's okay. Just move it to the top left. So Chris and Jovi, anytime you click that, it plays it. All right, now, and we would want to do this leading up to the show. So if the show starts 12 noon Eastern, probably about 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, you would want to set all this up in preparation for your show guest coming on. All right, so let's do number 8, which is going to promote the LED lights, and then let's do the number 5. It's going to be the second slot. So move that to the second position. Number 5, top right. Slide it over next to number 8. There you go. All right, so then Sherry's kind of got queued up the first 2. So after the intro, I go ahead and cue her. And so always wait for your host to say, go ahead and hit it, Sherry. So say something like that, or Chris, go ahead and hit it. So she would do 8 and 5. Now she wants to go ahead and prepare at the halftime. The halftime slot usually hits about the 30-minute mark. If the guest is kind of rolling on a good explanation, you don't want to interrupt them midstream. So if it's right at the 30-minute mark, you just look for a natural breaking point, and then your host will say, okay, well, we'll go ahead and take our halftime break. Let's go ahead and play a few promos for the shows and for our strategic partners. So let's do, go ahead and leave Aaron on number 7. We'll promote the Youth Sports Mastery Show, and then we'll play the number 2. So we'll just leave it like it is, 7 and 2. Now we have to think about, all right, what are we going to play at the end of the show? Now you'll notice if you scroll up, the outro is already set to be the strategic partner one, which is the number 4. So let's promote the Young Professionals show.
Number 6.
Yeah, let's put that in the number 6 slot. So it'll go 2, then 6. Or the 5th slot. All right, so this is kind of the prep work that someone managing the stage has to do, which I was doing it because I was running the shows, I was running backstage and all that kind of stuff. But the hosts, like Aaron, aren't going to know how to run all this stuff backstage. So we're going to do that for them, which is why we need all of us to be somewhat trained on this. All right, so Sherry, let's just pretend like I introduced the show. So I come online, I say, hey, this is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We have special guests, Chris, Jovi, and Sherry. They're going to tell us all about how to run we're going to demonstrate how to run StreamYard, how we use StreamYard, and how to put in all the promotionals. And this is also valuable for the strategic partner. So you get to see when you become a strategic partner like OutdoorLink or like National Academy of Athletics or many of the others that we're working with, as we build out your 1 to 2 minute promotion for your company, we're also going to build out a 1 to 2 minute explanation of the show that you're helping to co-create. So we'll stick with OutdoorLink as our next show that we're creating. We're creating a show for smart cities. in Parks and Rec because that's the business that they're in. They sell a bunch of a tool. It's a device that they put at your baseball field, baseball complex, and it will actually switch your field lights off and on. It will also switch your bathroom doors off and on so that homeless people maybe aren't coming in middle of the night. It can also switch any types of gates, pretty much anything you want to switch on. And what can you do with that switch? Well, you can turn that switch off and on from your cell phone or from your laptop or from your desktop. And you can give coaches permission to turn said baseball field. Let's say you've got 50 baseball fields across your entire Parks and Rec department. And you've got one set of coaches. Let's say you got 2 or 3 coaches that need to use field A on complex 2. So you can actually give them permission to turn those lights off and on with their cell phone. You're giving them access, but you only want them to have access for the season. So let's say your season's like a 12-week season. And then after that, you kind of pull access so that they can only access it when they have permission to use it. And now what does this do for you as a Park and Rec director? Well, how many of you have gotten those late night calls on Sunday from the neighbors of your park saying, hey, they left the lights on and it's 2 a.m. and it's Sunday and I can't go to sleep. You've got these massive baseball field lights pointing in my back window. And so traditionally you would have to roll out of bed or call your superintendent and say, hey, go turn the lights off. Or you just leave them on and you burn electricity and nobody's there. And so now with this really cool device, it's essentially a cell phone connection, but it's got what's called a universal cell phone connection. And it'll find the strongest signal across all the major carriers like Sprint, AT&T, Verizon. It'll find the strongest signal, and this signal operates on its own, independent of your Wi-Fi. So even if you have no Wi-Fi, let's say you've got a baseball field in the middle of the country. Like I know a lot of these baseball fields are like in cornfields and stuff. And so it's like a little neighborhood baseball field, just one baseball diamond. And so you probably wouldn't pay to have Wi-Fi on that field. And so, but that's okay because OutdoorLink system has its own, essentially a cell phone connection. And so it can communicate with its device, which is a switch that can be turned off and on. And so now, regardless of what kind of Wi-Fi or internet connectivity you have on your baseball field, doesn't matter. You're not dependent on that. And that's good for security issues and privacy issues and that kind of stuff. You're not waiting for Wi-Fi router to have proper connectivity. Or sometimes if you've got a ton of parents that are live streaming their son or daughter playing baseball, it could overwhelm the network and maybe mess up the communication. That won't happen with OutdoorLink because they've got their own isolated signal that's theirs and only for their switching. And so it just makes it much more dependable and robust and not dependent on you having a Wi-Fi connection or that Wi-Fi connection having enough bandwidth to communicate, even though it's not a big data package. It's just literally on or off. So it's not like OutdoorLink is streaming Netflix, Yellowstone. What's that show you like to watch, Sherry? Yellowstone? She's a Yellowstone junkie.
What about Kathleen?
Did
we invite her?
I don't know if we did, but that's okay because this is being recorded, so Kathleen can watch it later. Sherry, put your mouth about an inch from that microphone and say something.
Testing.
There you go. She has a radio voice, doesn't she? I think so. All right, so back to OutdoorLink. So this was one of our early show sponsors. So we're creating a show just for smart cities, and this is one of the many vendors that serves the Parks and Rec community and has been for quite some time. And this would be David Ramirez, Joseph, Craig, also Tasha. The owner of the company is DJ. Really solid company out of Huntsville. Is it Huntsville or Hansville? I confuse the two. North Alabama. Great company, second generation. And they have been making these devices for quite a long time for the billboard industry. So all those big billboards going down the interstate, the biggest one in America is Lamar. And they had the same problem that you have in Parks and Rec, that stuff wasn't coming on. They'd have to send an electrician out there. They really didn't know what was going on without getting boots on the ground, driving a man in his truck, paying electrician rates and all that kind of stuff. Well, this kind of bypasses all that. And so now you can control your lights off and on. You can kind of see if they have amp loads or stuff. So you can roughly see how many lights are coming on, how many lights aren't. So it just allows you to do so much more remotely. And that's kind of the operative word here is remote. You have remote control, remote access, all from the comfort of your cell phone, laptop, desktop. And so it just allows you to have so much more control over all of your devices. This whole concept was born, I don't know, about a decade ago. You may have heard of the term IoT, which stands for Internet of Things. And it's just where the connection devices have become so cheap that you can make them at scale and literally have a light bulb in your house or a light switch or a switch for your garage door or the switch for your air conditioner, all tied to the internet. And now you can control it. And not only can you control it real time, but you can program it. So you can come on, you can go into the OutdoorLink software, which by the way is beautiful. If you want to know how good a software is, here's the litmus test. How long does it take to train someone who has no technical skills? And if it's like a, 3-week onboarding process, then it's the coders have a lot to do. But because they have their coders in-house, they did not third-party this. I've personally met the in-house coders that OutdoorLink has on the payroll. They're able to make adjustments. They're able to rewrite it. They're able to improve it real time as they get information from the field. And who is the field? Well, that's you. That's Parks and Rec directors. That's people from Lamar. And so when they first launched their product, they always say in business that what you want to do is almost be embarrassed to launch your product and then get it out and then start getting feedback from your customers. And so the first 6 or 7 generations of their device was built inside of that billboard industry. And so why is that beneficial to you, Parks and Rec directors, is because OutdoorLink, I think they're on their 7th or 8th generation of improvements. And so let's say they throw their version 1 out in the field and things start breaking. They start, bugs get in their devices, ants and wasps will build up their nest inside of their devices. And they have to learn, we need a better enclosure that can maybe stop a lot of this. And so version 2 might have a better enclosure. They may have had, and again, this is me just speculating how stuff typically rolls out and improves over time when you're building devices and bringing them to market. They may have had only one carrier, like Verizon, but maybe Verizon's strong in some of their areas, but in some remote areas, maybe AT&T's stronger. And so maybe some device has an AT&T chip in it and the other ones have like a Verizon chip in it. But now they discovered that they have something called a universal card, a universal carrier, which means it can carry all the major carriers. And so now that's what they have all the way fast forward to version 7. And so that's beneficial to you because now the Parks and Rec industry is not being patient with the manufacturer or the service provider as they work through all these kinks. These kinks have pretty much been worked out. I want to say they have like something 70,000 units out in the field in every type of temperature and every type of humidity environment and every type of remote environment. And now you just get to inherit all those improvements because this industry, the Parks and Rec industry, is coming on after many, many years and thousands and tens of thousands of units out in the field being improved, making micro improvements on the housing, on the device itself, on the switching mechanisms, and then also on the software. So the software is constantly getting better. It's getting user friendly. It's being created with the end user in mind, and the end user in mind on the software side is non-techie coaches and maybe baseball field superintendents, or maybe you, the director. And so because y'all haven't spent your life in coding or working hardware stuff, the easier the better. And so you really want a good, seamless, clean user interface. And so when I say the word user interface, imagine you go onto your Amazon app. And so we all remember the early days of Amazon versus today. Look how many improvements they've made, how they make it easy to pay. They make it easier to go to the shopping cart. And so what they have is a team of coders that are constantly making this user interface simple to use for non-techie people. And that's what OutdoorLink has been diligently hammering on for many, many years. And I think they're on their second full year of deploying this great technology and this great hardware into the Parks and Rec industry. Thanks a lot to David Ramirez, who was a lifelong Parks and Rec superintendent in, do you remember what county he was in? Maybe Miami-Dade? One of the big ones, one of the big Florida counties. And so again, that's just to show that this is a very robust system. It's a very battle-tested system. And I'm really pleased that they came on as a strategic partner to create content around Internet of Things and smart cities, because, you know, a smart city is much more efficient to run than a city that's, say, not smart and has, well, or let's just say they're having to get man and machine out to these baseball fields to turn old school disconnects off and on, which is typically how you did it. So if you wanted baseball field lights, you go find some big 100 amp disconnect and you throw that big switch on in the control room. You got to find out where that is. And then you can turn them on, and then you just got to wait for them to finish playing baseball at night. And then you just turn them off. And so it's all in-person, mechanical rooms, where the electrical panel is, that kind of stuff. And maybe you had some electrician that installed a switch like in the concession stand, but it was all having to be done in person on site. And so this basically erases all that. And so now you can turn on baseball fields. You can be on the beach 1,000 miles away and turn on the baseball field lights in Port Allen, Louisiana, or in Huntsville, Alabama, or Henry County, Georgia.
Hey, Craig, can I say something real
Sure,
quick?
yeah, go ahead.
Dave, if you're watching this, I'm still representing.
Oh, yes.
It's my third hat.
Sherry loves the OutdoorLink hats. They have a good little logo and brand. Shout out to Macy, who is their marketing girl and will be helping us to create a lot of this cool content for the Parks and Rec Smart City show. It's nice to have people that are in marketing and understand good branding and good visuals, good video editing, that kind of stuff. So I think the end vision here, I know I'm going a little bit off track here, but the end vision here is to have 40 strategic partners, all that have marketing professionals on payroll that understand their brand well, understand their messaging, understand how they want to present themselves to the Parks and Rec industry, and actually have been presenting themselves to date to the Parks and Rec industry. But typically they only present themselves at annual conferences for the state or NRPA, some of the national conferences. And of course, every company has a Facebook page, a website. And so they understand the color schemes. They understand, of course, their product and service very well. And many of them are starting to understand the Parks and Rec industry. Of course, a lot of these vendors have been serving the Parks and Rec industry for decades. So they really know how they serve this industry at a super high level. And so that's going to be kind of the brain power that's and the skill set. What you need, Chair? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Good.
That's going to be kind of the brain power and the creative power that's going to be added to the Daily Parks and Rec show. Right now, everything created in the Daily Parks and Rec show has been done by Kathleen, Chris, and Jovi. They're really the heavy lifters when it comes to creating these promotionals, which we haven't even played yet. Let's go ahead and do that. We're supposed to do that after 1 or 2 minutes. All right, so rewind. Let's just pretend I just introduced the show. We're about 2 minutes in, and I say, when we come right back, we're going to have a great conversation with Chris and Sherry and Jovi. But before we do that, Sherry, why don't you go ahead and play our promotion for the LED for Palco, who makes LED lights. And then after that, we're going to play a promotion for if you're a vendor in this community, serving the Parks and Rec industry for many years. We're going to play a promotion on how you can become a strategic partner and help us create this media company for Parks and Rec. So Sherry, go ahead and hit number 8, quickly followed by number 5, and we'll be right back.
When you invest in our high-performance LED sports arena lights, you're not just upgrading your facilities, you're helping us illuminate the untold stories of parks and recreation communities. Every purchase directly supports the Daily Parks and Rec Show, a media platform on a mission to celebrate the heart and soul of our local parks and programs. From after-school activities to summer leagues, these spaces shape lives, and their stories deserve to be told. Why your support matters. Capturing community impact. Your contribution helps us assemble a talented team of digital artists, storytellers, and filmmakers to create compelling videos, articles, and short films that spotlight how Parks and Rec programs change lives. Sharing untold stories. From a child's first home run to lifelong friendships forged on the court, we'll document these priceless moments and share them with the world. Inspiring the next generation. By highlighting the joy, inclusivity, and opportunities found in our parks, we foster a deeper appreciation for these vital community spaces. Light up arenas, brighten futures. Your choice to install LED sports arena lights isn't just a smart investment in energy efficiency and performance, it's an investment in stories that deserve to be told. Be part of the story. Take action today. Purchase LED sports arena lights and help us shine a spotlight on the heartwarming stories that define our parks and communities. Contact us now to learn more about our products and how your support fuels the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Together, we'll shine a light on the moments that matter most.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co, we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
All right. So after that, I would say welcome back. If you'd like to learn more about our LED sports light that Palco offers to this industry and has been for over a decade, or if you'd like to become a strategic partner, hit me or Sherry up on LinkedIn and we'll get you connected. Okay, so I would usually make a comment like that. Now, if you noticed how Sherry made a little mistake there, and I'm glad she made it because there's a brief moment that Chris and the team puts in. It's like a little black area right at the end, about 2 or 3 seconds. So what you want to do is hit the next promo before it cuts to the stage where you have your guest and your host. And you only have like a few seconds. And of course, you don't want to press it too soon because then you kind of cut off the end of the video. You don't want to press it too late because then it'll show like the stage with your guest and your host for a split second. So it takes a little bit of time. You just got to be kind of paying attention. By the way, Chris, great job on creating both of those. We get a lot of great compliments on how beautiful those videos are. and I say Chris, it may be, I don't know if Chris is making those single-handedly or if he's getting Jovi or Kathleen to help out, but the whole team is just doing a beautiful job. And Kathleen, the newsletters are looking great. Fantastic job on those. Sherry made a comment on it, and we're really getting a lot of good feedback for them. Let me go ahead and adjust my lighting. I'm looking kind of red. That's a little too blue. Hold on. Yeah, we'll see if that works a little bit better. That's a little more natural skin tone. Okay. All right, so then what I would do is start the interview process, learning about the guy or gal that is we're interviewing that day, learning about their career path, their journey into Parks and Rec. If we're interviewing a vendor, we hear about the founding of the company. And so it's really more about the show guest or the topic of the show. It's split in half. So it usually takes about 5 minutes to do the intro and to play the 2 promos. And then we have roughly about 26 minutes of conversation. And then we'll move to like where we are right now. So you see where it says, Sarah, you see live 29 minutes and 36 seconds. So around 28 minutes, 27 minutes, you want to start looking for your host, which would be me, Aaron Locks, David Ramirez. Who's our other? Megan Cool. She's going to be running the Young Professionals Network. They'll be looking for a natural break in the conversation. And if it looks like they're finishing up a big topic and then he's got another question that might take another 5 or 10 minutes to work through that question. So they may want to cut to the half point or cut to the middle of the show promotionals at around that 27-minute mark if it looks like a natural break. Now, on the other side of that, let's say they're really in a passionate story about their life in Parks and Rec, what it means to them, and you're right at the 30-minute mark, and you're like, I don't want to interrupt this. Let's let them keep cooking. And they cook till about the 32-minute mark. So as a stage manager, you want to be ready and have your cursor on the next promo ready to go somewhere between that 27-minute mark, if they're cutting early, or if they're letting them cook till about the 32, 33-minute mark. And then they say, okay, well, we're at a natural break. Let's go ahead and break for our promoting the other shows, promoting the strategic partners that are working with DPRS Media Co. Chris, why don't you go ahead and do let's see if you can do it. Let's go ahead and make this our halfway break. And you're going to press the number 7. And then right before it ends in that black space, press number 2. See if you have the ability to do that on your end. Go ahead and press the number 7 right now.
At DPRS Media Co, we don't just create content. We elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped, not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. And powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.
Every career is a choice, but few careers let you touch lives. Not once in a while, but every single day. Step into a park on a Saturday morning. You'll hear children laughing on the soccer field, families gathering for a picnic, seniors walking the trails, finding health and friendship. And behind every smile, every memory, is a Parks and Rec professional. We don't just mow fields, we grow confidence in young athletes. We don't just build playgrounds, we create safe spaces where childhood thrives. We don't just plan events, we design moments that anchor generations. Think of the coach who teaches patience, the director who champions equity, the staff member who sees potential in a child no one else believed in. Every day, Parks and Rec professionals shape character, preserve beauty, and strengthen community. And the path isn't easy. Budgets are tight, resources stretched thin, but the reward, unmatched. Because what you give comes back in legacy, in healthier communities, in lives forever changed. So why dedicate your life to Parks and Recreation? Because here, your work never ends. It lives on, in laughter echoing across playgrounds, in green spaces preserved for the next century, in the young professionals rising to lead tomorrow. This is not just a career, it's a calling, it's a legacy, it's Parks and Recreation. A message from the Parks and Rec community.
Another great promo. Great job, guys, on creating that. I can't tell you how many times I've played that for Parks and Rec professionals, and they're literally drying their eyes after because they feel like for the first time their story has been told, that someone has found a way to encapsulate why they do what they do, why they've dedicated their life to this industry in a 2-minute promo. And I forgot. Okay, so I also played the number 1, which is the essential services. Sherry, let's go ahead and move that number 1. I want to play that one by the end. That's such a powerful one. Let's put that, we'll play 3 at the end. So let's play that one next. Put it between number 2 and number 6. Move that one up. Perfect. This one I played for Miss, shout out to Liddy Gutfeld over in California. And our intention is that Parks and Rec professionals are really fighting tooth and nail for every dollar to fund what they're so passionate about, which is building community, making sure no child gets left behind. That and unfortunately in America, Parks and Rec was kind of put on the chopping block because it was considered not a non-essential service. And even though, of course, the fire department, the police department, even utilities are considered essential, what happens when we don't have very robust park systems, the community really starts to struggle, because instead of kids having a baseball game or a basketball court, they're kind of out on the streets and can potentially get in trouble. But if you organize sports, which is done by your Parks and Rec community, and get teams of little kids, and they've got coaches that really want to teach life lessons to these kids, isn't that a much better environment than just turning kids loose on the street with nothing to do, versus welcoming kids into your Parks and Rec department and organizing team sports and having coaches that are really good at teaching life lessons around patience and teamwork and learning to lose and to win and to work as a team, learning little life skills and learning how their bodies work as far as athletics goes. And so that's just a much healthier environment for kids to grow up in, versus imagine a city with no Parks and Rec department, no green spaces, no parks, no tree canopies that are managed by the cities, no aquatic centers, no senior centers. And that's kind of where we found ourselves, that many Parks and Rec departments, I talked to a lot of them, were slashed, almost like shut completely down, to where they went from 100 employees to maybe like 10. They had to just lay everybody off, let everybody go. And then, of course, everything somewhat came back. But a lot of Parks and Rec department are still struggling to recover from that 2020 budget cuts that they had to face. And so I reached out to Chris and I said, hey, let's make something, a little 2-minute explainer that these Parks and Rec directors can play for their mayors, for the elected officials, for the council, to really reframe the conversation as this is absolutely the preventative side of building a community, not the reactive side. The reactive side is, hey, we've got trouble on the street corner. Maybe we heard a gunshot. Maybe we had some kids fighting. So let's send the police because we haven't given these kids anything to do. We haven't created something in our city that can work with these kids. And so now we've got to deploy our law enforcement and maybe even use the hospital if someone gets hurt, versus had we just funded a very robust Parks and Rec department that keeps these kids busy doing great things that are going to serve them for the rest of their lives. And so that was kind of the initial response. I threw that at Chris, and fortunately, because Chris and Jovi and Kathleen have been editing Parks and Rec content nonstop as a full-time job, they're very well versed and understand the spirit of Parks and Recreation, the problems they face, the obstacles they have to overcome. And so he kind of knew exactly what I was talking about, and he created this, and it was just beautiful. Let's go ahead and play that. Let's see if Jovi can play it. We're going to play the number 1 essential services. Go ahead and hit it whenever you're ready. Let's see if you have functionality on that.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present: parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety, a playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right, great job on that one. That's definitely our most viewed video, and my goal is to have that video played in front of every mayor or every elected official across America so that they can really understand why Parks and Rec is so important. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Let me make sure that came up okay. All right, so if you go on to, this is our YouTube channel, and you can go click these links right here. And so you're welcome to use why dedicate your life to Parks and Rec. Why is Park and Rec an essential service? We are not copywriting these at all. Any city is welcome to use them if they find themselves in front of a classroom of young kids, high school kids, part-time workers, summer camp counselors, lifeguards, concession stand workers, and maybe plant that seed, which is exactly what Lady Gutfeld did. She sent me a video of 100 high schoolers, part-time workers, in it looks like some community center that she runs. And they were in that orientation part the job. You know, you get a summer job and you show up on Friday for orientation. We're going to tell you how the summer's going to go. And well, during that session, she played Why Dedicate Your Life to Parks and Recreation. And then she filmed it and sent it to me. So I'm going to go find that video and play it for everybody. Shout out to Liddy. She said, promises made, promises kept. And so really, really love and appreciate that. It's our work. And if anything, like any artist, when they create something beautiful, one of the best compliments you can give them is just to share their work. And so we hope that the stuff we're creating for the Parks and Rec community is valued. And best thing you can do is share it and use it. And that's why we made this. We made this for y'all as a gift from us to y'all. Since we are content creators in this industry, we want to make useful content, valuable content. And so with that being said, if there's any other message, shout out to Jonathan. What's Jonathan's last name? Skinner, also in California. He gave us a great idea about seniors and senior centers that operate across America. So most Parks and Rec departments have a senior center. And so why am I talking about this? Because this is going to be one of the things that we want to create as a third video similar to Why is Parks and Rec an Essential Service? You can press play on that one. It's on our YouTube channel. You can also play Why Would You Consider Parks and Rec as a Career Path? You can play that one for all your high school kids. And the third one we want to create is why are senior centers so important to our elderly inside of our communities? Put yourself in their shoes for a little bit. Imagine you're 80 years old, your loved one has passed away. Maybe you're alone in your home, and maybe many of your friends has passed away, or you're living in a city by yourself and you really don't have a network. And a lot of these people depend on their senior centers to get out the house, and maybe they can no longer drive. So they have a lot of senior centers have like a little bus, and they'll go pick up the old people in their community and they'll bring them to the community center, and they'll feed them lunch. They'll feed them dinner. They'll send them home with groceries. They'll have some people throughout the community come by and show them how to operate their cell phone. They'll play bingo. They'll do yoga. And then at the end of the day, around lunch or maybe later in the evening, they put them all back in the bus and drop them back off. And so this is a service that's happening across America. And who runs this? The Parks and Rec departments. You might not think Parks and Rec has anything to do with elderly or tree canopies or many other things that graveyards or farmers market, but this is the type of service that is under the umbrella of Parks and Recreation. And we think this would be another great topic to defend and maybe even promote the work that's done for our elderly community. And so, Chris, that's going to be next on the chopping block among the other stuff. Not that y'all got a lot of spare time over there where y'all are working so hard. But this would be another great video. And if we could maybe get something put together in the next couple of weeks of the month and then pass it by Jonathan Skinner and have him give us some feedback on it. And that'll probably be our third one that we can put up there, along with all the other stuff we're doing. But as I said before, these are all for free to use. It's on our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can just get more this content that we're co-creating with the industry and with our vendors out into the community, because it really is valuable. And imagine Liddy standing in front of these 100 kids playing that, and then Liddy Gutfeld gives her personal testimony as to why this industry has meant so much to her and the lives she's changed, community she's created, the legacy she's left over the few cities that she's dedicated her life to. And then the kids are leaving thinking that, you know what, I really only knew about maybe engineering as a degree to pursue in college, or maybe legal or law or medicine, become a doctor, but I never knew that you could dedicate your life to Parks and Recreation. And I didn't know that Parks and Rec did all of this. And yes, Parks and Rec does do all this. You can be a marketing specialist in Parks and Rec because Parks and Rec departments need marketers. You can be an accountant because Parks and Rec departments have accounting that needs to be done, HR, payroll. Yes, you can be a coach. You can work in youth sports. So if you're a college athlete and you want to coach for a living, maybe consider working for your Parks and Rec department and organizing baseball leagues and coaches and volunteers and referees. And there are 350,000 people in America that have dedicated their life to Parks and Recreation in this capacity. And that's not including all the coaches and volunteers and, of course, the young kids that are also participating. So we're talking about millions of Americans, if not hundreds of millions of Americans, that use these facilities and participate in the events that they have. And let me not leave out special events. So if you like throwing parties for an entire city, maybe 10 parties a year, you're gonna throw a Halloween party for the whole city, and you might spend $10,000 to $20,000 on throwing a massive Halloween party, or an Easter egg hunt, or a Christmas party, or a 4th of July celebration, or a movies night that runs through the fall. All this is done under Parks and Recreation. So it really is a robust career path that really has something to do for just about anything you could shake a stick at. And then you get some of the best benefits in the world. They have great retirement, 401ks, all kind of good stuff. I can't say enough about this industry. And you get more than just a paycheck. You get to make a difference in your community. You get to have a lot of fun. Now it's hard hours. I've never met a Parks and Rec professional that doesn't work weekends and holidays, because when everybody else is celebrating, you're working the 4th of July event. You're not really attending it, but you do get to see a lot of happy faces. You get to create a lot of special moments for families, your community, and for little kids that get to maybe hit the ball for the first time or catch a fish for the first time. There's all kind of stuff that can be done in Parks and Recreation. And so that's kind of why we create these to promote the industry, to promote not just the entire industry, but little segments of the industry. And that's why we want to create a special promotion just for the essential service of caring for our elderly through the city, these elderly centers, or I'm trying to think of the proper name that they're starting to label these with. They're not elderly centers. What do they call them? Senior centers, or I don't know. I don't want to. We'll get the proper terminology from Jonathan. He knows how to label it correctly, because what we're finding is it's not just the elderly that are using some of these. When you think elderly, you might be thinking 70, 80-year-olds, but a lot of 50-year-olds are starting to use this. So it's a much larger demographic as far as age group that are starting to use these facilities as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and end that there. And then finally, I think we have Catherine on as well. Yep, there she is. Catherine, I don't know if you're paying attention. Why don't you try to hit our next promo? It's the number 3. Wait till I say go, but I'd like to promote the facilities maintenance show. This is a show that we've been building out from the beginning. It's a heavy lift, and mainly it's a heavy lift because it's hard to find. It's hard for Sherry to find Parks and Rec professionals that are in their that are maintaining this massive real estate portfolio, which is several trillions of dollars if you add up the price tag for all the real estate that Parks and Rec manages. Half of the work in Parks and Rec, half of the money spent in Parks and Rec, half of the man hours deployed in Parks and Rec is actually done by facilities maintenance crews. So if you have, say, 100 Parks and Rec professionals working in your city, 50 of them typically are working to just not just cut the grass and but to pick up trash, to make sure that the playgrounds are safe, that there's no broken glass bottles from the night before. But they're also tearing down the 30-year-old playground and installing the new one and managing that whole project start to finish. Parks and Rec facilities maintenance has a never-ending workload of tearing down the old, repairing the old, bringing in the new, managing all that. That's the whole project management side that's kind of bolted on to the facilities maintenance side of Parks and Rec, in addition to regular maintenance, mopping, pressure washing, cleaning, grass cutting, tree trimming, all that kind of stuff is all under facilities maintenance. And then on top of that, if that wasn't enough, all these special events, who's going to set up and tear down and weekend of, let's say you've got a massive 4th of July celebration. The people in charge of special events are constantly tapping the superintendent and all his workforce to set up barricades and tents and chairs and electricity and hookups for food trucks, in addition to cutting the grass and doing all that. And when you say cutting the grass, it's not as simple as just, rolling over the lawnmower. They are making pristine playing fields that don't have stickers and thorns and weeds, and they're striping the fields, and they're making sure that the drainage is right and the irrigation is right. And I just have been blown away. I thought, because this is the side of Parks and Rec that I lived in for a decade, and I thought I knew what facilities maintenance was. I could not have been further from the truth as far as understanding the work and the scope and the scale of what facilities maintenance crews do. Shout out to Brian Dixon over in Henry County. He's helped me see that a lot. Also Jason, and who's our other guy from Joseph? Joseph, so sorry I didn't get to meet you over there at the NRPA convention. But all right, so let's go ahead and play that one, and then I'll go ahead and wrap up the show. Kathleen, see if you can hit the number 3. Go ahead and hit it right now. She may not have access to do it. It's on the media asset side. If you look on the right-hand side of StreamYard, you'll see comments, banners, media assets. And then you scroll up a little and you'll see the videos. We may have to show her how to do that later. Jovi, why don't you go ahead and hit it till we can get Kathleen on the right area.
Behind every thriving park, every safe playground, every event-ready field, there's a team working before sunrise and long after sunset. This is facility maintenance, the only show created for and by the unsung heroes of Parks and Recreation. Brought to you by DPRS Media Co, where real work gets real recognition. From restrooms to rec centers, HVAC to turf tech, we go beyond the job site into the heart of operations that keep our communities moving. Our mission? To elevate maintenance teams through stories, solutions, and shared experience. Our vision? A world where every facility crew is seen, valued, and fully supported. Each episode features operators, innovators, and leaders, sharing tools, tech, and tactics that make the impossible look easy. Facility maintenance isn't just a job, it's purpose, it's passion, and now it's a show. Facility maintenance, where tools meet purpose, where work becomes legacy.
All right, so that's going to be our morning show, 10:30 a.m. Monday through Thursday, all about facilities maintenance. Still building that one out. Let's go ahead and everybody move to the private chat. If you look on the far right-hand side, you'll see comments, banners. Keep going down, it says private chat. Everybody go ahead and type in their name. I put mine in, said Craig. There's Jovi, there's Chris, there's Kathleen, and Sherry. Okay, so your show host and the guests will be able to also type on this. So this is a private chat backstage where we can all kind of communicate, so that if you ever need to communicate with them via text, or let's say they're sharing a link, they could put a link in here and you could click it and maybe share screen. Here's one last thing I can show y'all as well. If you look on the bottom left, you see like the red arrow, which is where you would kind of leave this stage. And you see the settings icon, the add person. If you hit that add person icon, this is the show link. And so you can send this, and you will have to send this to the LinkedIn chat. That includes your show host, their guest, and whoever else might be joining. So why don't everybody go ahead and copy that link and then paste it in the chat, just as practice. There you go. Chris and Jovi got it. There's Kathleen. And there's Sherry. Okay. So now that show link is exclusive to this this episode. So this episode number 287, which we'll need to relabel that since Tyler's not here. Let's go ahead and relabel that one when we in post-production. We'll just call this one how to run the StreamYard stage. And that way we can refer back to it. And so that link is how you share the link with LinkedIn. Now, before we start the show, you would want to get into a three-way conversation or a group conversation on LinkedIn with whoever your host is. So me, Aaron, Megan, Dave, their guest. So you'll have to kind of communicate with them maybe the day before. And we could actually do this the day before. So if we've got a show coming up on Tuesday, we may want to start that group conversation on Monday and just confirm, hey, just confirming that we're all set to go for tomorrow's show at 12 noon leadership series, or in Aaron's case, just confirming that we're still good to go on the this upcoming Thursday show, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. You can create that show link, and then you can send that show link, and that way everybody has it and is ready to go a full 24 hours before. That probably should be our what we're striving to do. Typically, we've been creating these just a few minutes before, but sometimes it gets kind of rushed and we end up starting late. So it'd probably be better practice just to go ahead and do all that the day before. And I can show y'all, we'll have to do this one offline, how to create that show link. Essentially, you just go to, well, you know what, I might be able to do this for everybody. Let me see. Yeah, I think I can. All right, I'll go ahead and share screen. Stop screen share. Okay, so going back to the bottom, you see the little plus sign in the screen next to the plus sign with the man. You hit that and screen share. Screen share and hit StreamYard. So this is you can actually share screen if you want to show somebody's website, which vendors are going to want to give a tour of their website. I think that would be fairly common. Maybe even show how their system works, especially like the software companies and stuff. They're going to want to like bring people in and demonstrate how their software works on camp registration, whatever it is they're doing for the Parks and Rec community. All right, so now I'm sharing my screen. Let me go ahead and remove. Add myself to stage. Yeah, still lost the audio? Audio back? Okay. Well, we may have to show you how to do that. Let's see. Well. Okay, here we go. That's it. Yeah, so what we do is you would want to add both Facebooks, the LinkedIn for the main channel, the LinkedIn, what do you call it, page for the Daily Parks and Rec Show, and then both X accounts. My personal X account, since I got a lot of followers there, and then the Daily Parks and Rec Show also has an X account. And so what you're basically telling StreamYard is when we go live, push that live broadcast out to these channels. And then eventually we'll have YouTube as another social media platform that we can push this content out to live when we go live. Then, of course, after it compresses it, puts it on the library, and then that's when Chris, Jovi, and Kathleen kind of take it into post-production, start editing it and preparing it to go on the YouTube channel. And they'll put like a highlight reel, some shorts, and then they can also go back and they create the thumbnail, then they put it up on YouTube. And then later on, some of the best shows will get replayed at 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern time. That's kind of like the whole framework of what we do. All right. So I think we've just got about everything covered. Sherry, is there anything I'm not covering? That'll look good to you? You got to put your mouth close.
Yeah, no, I muted it, but yeah, no, I think it's good. I mean, that was a lot, so you're
Yeah.
gonna have a give us some time.
Well, and luckily it's all recorded, so y'all can go watch it and rewatch it. And so why are we doing all this? And of course, why are we doing it live? I love to create live. I love to show people how it's done so that we kind of demystify it all. Plus, it's going to be really hard to do this AI generated. That way, you know it's real. It's definitely us. We've got all the little quirks and mistakes that you do when you're doing live stuff. But because we've got a whole new slew of shows coming out, we need more people trained on how to run the backstage. And so we're actually training everyone that works on the Daily Parks and Rec show to help run the stage. And we'll eventually assign a stage manager, which is what y'all are all doing right now. Sherry, Chris, Jovi, and Kathleen are stage managers in training. And then we'll partner one of you with, let's just say, Aaron Locks. And so you will be assigned to, one of you will be assigned to the Thursday show, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, Youth Sports Mastery with host Aaron Locks, sponsored by the National Academy of Athletics. And you will be creating the show link. You will be putting the right logo at the top right. You'll be putting the right banner on the bottom. You'll be communicating with them 24 hours before, creating a group chat in LinkedIn between your show guest, the host, Aaron Locks, yourself, myself, and then confirming that everyone is set to go tomorrow at the whatever time slot that they're scheduled for. And then you'll send the show link. And then you just show up about 15, 20 minutes before. You create the new show, or you go back and you click that show, open it up, and then you just wait for Aaron and his guest to show up, do a little small talk, kind of you're ready to go. And then you'll have to decide which 6 promos you want to play. So I'll run through that real quick. I'm just going to go run through start to finish of how you'll run the stage. So let's just say, pretend like we went live. Craig LeBlanc, Daily Parks and Rec show, have special guests, Chris, and he's going to show us how to do video editing. But before we do that, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor, Halco LED Lights. And then right after that, we're going to play something about strategic partners. So then they would just, I'll go ahead and hit them both. I'm not going to let them play all the way through. So you just hit this one.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready?
All right, so imagine both of those played through. This takes us from about the start time. The intro takes about 2 minutes. Then you go ahead and flash promo number 1, sports lighting in this case, promo number 2, back to back, no space in between for partners. Then Aaron or myself gets into the body of the interview for about 25 minutes. Around the 27-minute mark, you're kind of looking to see if he wants to end early because it's a natural ending, or he may just end right at the 30-minute slot. Aaron's really good at right at around a 30-minute slot time up front. Now you're looking at that, see that in red, the live clock that's going a minute 7, an hour and 7 minutes, 24, 25, 26 seconds. So you're kind of ready to go at the 27-minute mark. Then you go ahead and press the 2 middle promos. In this case, we're just going to run YSM, which is Youth Sports Mastery, and the why Parks and Rec should be considered as a career path for young professionals or for young kids. So we'll go ahead and pretend like we're going to play these 2.
At DPRS Media Co.
Every career is a choice.
Okay, so then we would run through those 2. So remember, we have 6 promos per live show, 2 after the intro, 2 in the middle, and now we're at the end of the show. So what are the 2 we're going to play? In this case, and you want to kind of line those up ready to go. Just put them in the order you want to play them. In this case, we've chosen to do 8 and 5 in the front, 7 and 2 in the middle, number 1 at the end, but then you've got to do the end stream. Now, when I press the end stream, you'll notice it says outro. So this is the one that naturally plays at the very end, but I have to hit the end stream button top right, and then you'll notice I have to hit the play outro and end stream. Once we do that, the show's going to naturally wrap itself up. So your guys won't be able to come back on stage and close out the show, which is normal. That's how it runs. All right, now that's pretty much how you run the backstage. You also want to keep that private chat open and monitored. You can also, many of you have been opening up your Facebook page and commenting and liking live during the show. It's just kind of mid-show activity while you're waiting during those 2 25-minute interviews. That gives you some time to maybe open up your X account, make a comment, like and share, and it just helps with the algorithm if more people are liking and sharing. And I think that's pretty much it. So that'll be a wrap for today. Thank you all so much for attending our live show today to kick off the week. We did have a guest scheduled, but he had to cancel last minute. Turns out most Parks and Rec professionals are so busy, they do the best they can to show up. And actually, we've been very blessed. After 287 shows, I've maybe only had 5 or 6 people have to cancel last minute, and so that's a pretty good percentage. We're very quickly approaching our 300th episode because we did like 30 or 40 live interviews from NRPA. Just to give a little bit of update of what's coming as far as in person, we are scheduled first and second week of November to attend Kentucky Parks and Rec Association and the Georgia Parks and Rec. I think it's Association or Society. Actually, I think Kentucky's the Society, just because I think somebody stole the A already with K. Maybe Kansas did it, or I don't remember who. But we'll be attending those live and in person. Everything that you saw us do for NRPA, we're going to kind of duplicate that at the local level at the state events. We're also attending Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. We're in talks with Florida. We're in talks with the one up in the Northeast. I forget what that one's called. We're also in talks with California as well, and actually many others. But we are definitely going to the Kentucky and Georgia. We got about a month to prepare for all that, where we actually hit the road and probably record at least 30 in each. So that'll be 60 episodes in 2 weeks. That's going to be a lot of editing. So let's hope that our AI tools are smoking to help our content creators create those and churn them out faster. Or we may have to get another team member on board as well. But that's all I have for everyone today. Thank y'all so much. Shout out to my team. They're doing a beautiful job. They're such talented artists, and they really are helping to tell the story of Parks and Rec, which unfortunately to date has not had any type of strong media presence like I discovered in my Bitcoin community. And that was one gift we wanted to give to the industry, is just to create a robust media platform where the content could call home and the story of Parks and Rec could be told. And we had talented digital artists like we have on our team to help us tell that story and to capture that content, create evergreen content, and then put it on our YouTube library so that forever this wisdom can be immortalized and viewed many, many years from now. So really appreciate all the hard work from the team. Really appreciate all the love and support from the Parks and Rec community, especially at NRPA. I really had no idea how much difference we made and how valuable the Parks and Rec community found the work that we were doing. But when we went live and in person, we were approached by hundreds of people that were just thanking us for the work we're doing, and that they really appreciate helping to lift the industry up and tell the story of Parks and Recreation. So shout out to everybody that's come on and help us to create this content, because really y'all are the story. We're just the artists that are trying to paint a beautiful picture and give it back to y'all. So hats off to everybody. All right, so this is Craig LeBlanc signing off for our the beginning of the week show, Daily Parks and Rec Show, DPRS Media Company. This is the leadership series, Monday through Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, and then we've got many other shows coming as well. So we'll see y'all later in the week. Love you guys. Thanks a lot. Bye. Oh, Sherry, why don't you go ahead and hit in stream and then hit the outro after that.
At DPRS Media Co, we believe Parks and Recreation isn't just a service, it's the heartbeat of our communities. We exist to honor the people, the vendors, and the leaders shaping the future of Parks and Rec. Our mission is simple: to tell their stories, highlight their careers, and celebrate their essential work. Our vision is bold: to be the trusted hub where leaders, vendors, and communities unite, inspiring innovation, sharing wisdom, and building a stronger, healthier nation. Through over 220 live shows and 6 weekly series, the Leadership Series, Facility Maintenance, Young Professionals Network, Youth Sports Mastery, The Rec Room, and Growing Leaders, plus our industry-leading newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post, we're building a media platform made for the Parks and Rec community. And now, we're inviting strategic partners to co-create this story with us. As a partner, you'll gain 12 hours of annual live exposure, with custom shows highlighting your expertise, polished 60-second promos refined for maximum impact, year-round visibility with dozens of replays across our media network, premium features in our newsletter, and amplified social media reach across LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. This is your chance to educate, inspire, and lead while connecting directly with the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. This is DPRS Media Co. Let's build the future of Parks and Rec together.